2015, blowing through another calendar year. And on one of those pages is your next birthday, whatever that number is for you this year. You know, I was pondering the next line for this video, and I saw something one of my Facebook friends had posted. She asked the question, another day, to get into something different, or do the same thing over and over again? You know, that really got me to thinking, because I thought about this my whole life. Because I never wanted to just be normal or average or just let life pass you by without doing things that you're passionate about or exciting or they're different or unique. So it got me to thinking about the last 41 years of my life. And I say 41 because I really started to do that in a serious way on my 18th birthday when I hopped into my 1969 VW camper van and moved to Philadelphia. Now, it just started out being a road trip, but because of my excitement and curiosity and always looking for a new adventure or something different, I ended up staying in Philadelphia because I got quite enamored with the city, and I met someone there. So 14 months after moving to Philadelphia, I'd gotten a girlfriend, she became my fiance, and we got married within 14 months. But you know, it was interesting because I was determined even then that, you know, always do things different, look for something new and exciting. So when we got back from our honeymoon, my best man had showed me photographs he'd taken of us opening our gifts. And I thought to myself, wow, look at these pictures. They're so much better than my snapshots that I take with my Instamatic. You know, I don't know anything about photography. But you know what? This has got me motivated. I'm curious now. I'm excited. I'm going to learn photography. And I did. And I got pretty good at it. Which I was always having a thing about having the most artistic control over what I do. So that naturally led me into doing my own darkroom work, which was very exciting. Again, it wasn't necessarily easy to learn, but I was excited about it. I was curious, and it drew me into it, and I'm so glad that I did that. I had so much more creative control. I was able to make my own custom prints. And that naturally led to having a few not a lot, but I had a few photo exhibits, and it was immensely satisfying. I enjoyed it very, very much. Now, trying to save a little money, and again, having a little bit more artistic control and creativity, I decided, you know what, I'm not going to pay $45 for picture framing. I'm going to make picture frames by myself from scratch, handmade picture frames. And so I did that for a while. It was very, very exciting, very enjoyable. Then, I thought to myself, how else can I have control over my creative process when it comes to photography? That's when I learned about tweaking photos with airbrushing. We didn't have Photoshop back then. This is back in the 80s. So I started tweaking my photos with airbrushing. And again, it was very exciting to learn airbrushing. It wasn't easy, but it was exciting because I was curious. And of course, that led to airbrush art itself. Some of my most enjoyable time spending with art, and what I've actually been able to come up with as far as having artwork now, are my artwork that was done with an airbrush. Immensely satisfying. Got some very beautiful pieces, of course, I'll have forever now that I've taught myself to do that, and very much enjoyed it. Then I got into portraiture, started to dabble with that a little bit, and then I thought to myself, there's portraits and there's airbrush. What about airbrush portraits? So I dabbled, did a few of those. In fact, I was able to do something that I still look back very fondly now. Someone had lost someone very dear in their life, and all he had was a little poorly shot snapshot of her standing in a well in China. But he wanted something to remember her by, so he commissioned me to do an airbrush portrait based on this fuzzy picture. We were able to make it work. It came out beautiful, and he was so appreciative, and I was very honored that I was able to help him in that way. But once again, it's only because I knew something about portraiture and about airbrushing, so it's very immensely satisfying. Then I got into autographics, which I really have to say that was the most fun I've ever had making money. I got wild and crazy and stupid on Suzuki Samurais and sidekicks and Jeeps and custom trucks and vans, and it was just immensely satisfying. I was given carte blanche with my imagination. I could get as crazy and stupid with colors and wacky designs as I could possibly come up with. whole car carriage for Suzuki Samurais would pull up to the car dealership, and I just went crazy on these things. I have to say that's the most fun I've ever had making money. But once again, I almost passed on it because I wasn't quite sure that I would get into something like that. But my curiosity took over, and I was so happy that I did not pass up on that. Now, if you see my other videos, you know that next phase of life, I literally fell backwards into fine porcelain and art restoration. Once again, I almost passed on. I couldn't bring myself to tell the teacher and tell my wife that, well, you know, I'm going to do this, but I decided I'm not going to do it. Couldn't bring myself to do that, but because I almost passed on fine porcelain restoration, the course. And I've been doing it for 20 years now, and I can't even imagine not taking this and becoming good at it, and immensely satisfying things that I've been able to do for people with things that they thought were lost forever because of damage. Now, the last phase is teaching all of you these secrets and techniques and showing you the tools that I've created. But you know, you think about it. So many different, so many exciting things that feed off each other and lead to other cool things. You learn something, and there's kind of a related field. Oh, I don't know, maybe like porcelain painting and porcelain restoration. There's things that once you get good at something, it naturally feeds into the next phase of your life, a new skill to learn. When does that happen, though? Because it doesn't always do so. Maybe not at all in some people's lives, and for others, maybe not nearly enough. So when does that happen? When do you go from one exciting, challenging, passionate thing to another? You know when that is? When your excited curiosity trumps being timid about trying new things. So you might be asking, well, what about me? How many of these life transitions can I count where I went from one thing to another because I was good at this, I overcame my fear, learned it, and was able to parlay these skills into something even more exciting and brand new in the sense it's different, but it's somehow related. How many of these life transitions can I count? You might be asking. Is it time for another? You know, it's a funny thing about the best opportunities I've enjoyed over the decades. The opportunity for the two best ones had something in common. They were very fleeting, although I didn't know it at the time. When these things came up, things were changing, and I didn't realize that they were. And so had I flinched when it was offered to me, or waffled, or paused, or hesitated, they would have slipped away. And these whole chapters of my life, some lasting decades, 20, 30 years I've been doing some of this stuff. Whole chapters, exciting chapters of my life, and all the art that I can enjoy, and the memories, and the friends that I've made, would have never been. You know, opportunity will pull right up to you, like it is right now in this video. It will pull right up to you, and just like a bus, the doors will pop open. You get on, or you don't. You know, doubt paralyzes. Don't let that happen to you. Keep the excited curiosity you had as a child. Be passionate about stuff. Don't be afraid of things. And you know, it's interesting because people look at what I've been able to do with restoration and say, oh my God, I don't know how you do that. It's fantastic. It's like magic. I couldn't imagine. No. Let me tell you something. This is not hard. Believe it or not, it's not. There's a few basic fundamentals, there's a few tools, there's a few secrets. And it's certainly not magic. Owning this profession is very simply a matter of getting excited about learning it. I'm going to repeat that. Owning this craft, this business, is very simply a matter of getting excited about learning it instead of fearful about learning it. Because think about it, fear and excitement, are they very similar? Now, fear is a type of excitement, but it's got a negativity, it's got a doubt, it's got a timidity to it. It causes fear and anxiety. But excitement, that's very interesting concept, isn't it? You have a passion, a curiosity that fuels you to keep going. And then once you get past that timidity, and you see that, you know, something isn't as hard as it seems, you can do it, then you get excited. You have a tremendous sense of accomplishment and fulfillment and confidence. So as far as this craft is concerned, let me assure you, because believe me, I know, doing this can become second nature, it can become reflex to you. You can look at a broken piece and say, yeah, I can do that repair, and this is how I would do it in this particular case. Then, being able to quote a very nice sum of money for how much your professional shop time is now worth, because you've mastered this profession and you're ready to do anything that comes down the road. So, in conclusion, there's some contact information at the end of this video. Please take note of it, contact me, and let's get started.